Welcome to the Lowco. Welcome everyone to the Lowco Pigskin Live. Max Arraj here with Wes Kerr, who's running the headquarters for Pigskin Live tonight. A lot of big games going on tonight, including the one I'm currently at, Hill Neck Christian Academy, where they have been completely dominating tonight. 42-7 with 5:52 left in the fourth. Christian Academy looking good right now, and as well on the screen right now, we have the Hilton Head Seahawks taking on Bluffton Bobcats. It's been all Hilton Head tonight. Wes, you've been watching that game. Tell us what you've been seeing.
It has been a clinical performance by the Seahawks on the road, and they punched in again to make it 35-0. It is a Bridge Bowl blowout over at the Den. Hilton Head Seahawks running all over the Bluffton Bobcats tonight as they are on their way to securing the number 2 seed out of reach in 6-4A in dominant fashion from the first drive. It has been Troy Timko, it has been Thaddeus Sarnecki, and a little bit of Derek Graniszewski as well, but that offense has been full throttle throughout tonight's action, and the defense locking down, pitching a shutout against a dynamic and explosive Bluffton attack. So that is the big story here so far tonight. The Hilton Head Seahawks taking it to the Bluffton Bobcats, and they are trying to secure the number 2 spot and guarantee the home playoff game of the Bobcats of Bluffton. Have a reasonably good shot if our hunch is correct of where the scene will be, which means they could play May River in a hometown showdown rematch. Don't quote us on that, but it looks like we are trending in that direction. But we only have one high school league game. The rest are SCISA playoff games. The first week of SCISA playoffs, but it is the final week of high school league regular season. It was pushed back a week due to the hurricanes that came through a month or two ago around the state. So this one was postponed twice. We're making it up here tonight, and it is all Hilton Head 35-0 as we are just underway in the fourth quarter. But a couple of other scores to tell you about across the Lowco. Most have been on the blowout side. Not too many close ones, including your Hilton Head Christian Academy Eagles up 42-7 over Florence Christian late in that one. John Paul II put up a solid fight on the road, but they are down 25-7 against Wilson Hall. Calhoun Academy 35, Hilton Head Prep 14. And then over in 1A, Thomas Hayward taking it to Lee Academy. No surprise there, 48-12. The shocker of the night, other than Hilton Head, by the way, they're completely stymieing Bluffton. 21 apiece between Carolina Academy and BA. So the BA Eagles on the ropes a bit, or at least they are in a locked-in battle right now with Carolina Academy. So that is 21-21. We are in the fourth quarter, so that one is coming down to the wire in the SCISA quarterfinals in 1A. And then elsewhere in 1A, Dorchester Academy up 38-7 with 7 minutes to go. So looking pretty solid right there for Dorchester. Knock off Colleton Prep.
And then surprise. That game right there is a bit of a surprise. We saw the Colleton Prep team destroy Dorchester Academy just 2 weeks ago at Dorchester Academy too. So a bit of a flip the script kind of night for Colleton Prep. I had high hopes for them in this playoffs.
A lot of us picked them to win that. I mean, that is quite the surprise too with the Colleton Prep Warhawks not showing up in this one. They are down big, and looks like they might be saying goodbye to their season tonight, unfortunately. And then Williamsburg up big 49-6 over Patrick Henry. We also have an 8-man cross against Lawrence Academy. Haven't found a score there yet, but still updating these scores in real time. But I think the first what stands out to you tonight, I think you got to start with what's going on at the Bobcat Den. I mean, true domination from start to finish so far. Bluffton trying to find it, but they are down big as we are in the fourth quarter. It probably is already too late, down 5 scores. And it's all but done for the Bobcats, but their season will stay alive. They will most likely host May River, but we'll get confirmation hopefully tomorrow. But man, this Seahawk team, they're looking real dangerous right now.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we did not expect this game to be the way it was. We expected a one-possession dogfight between these two teams, and it just hasn't been that way tonight. I have a feeling part of it is to do with Bluffton hasn't been great playing on wet fields, and right now there's some wet fields out there due to the rain that occurred earlier today here in Bluffton. So I know part of that is the reason Bluffton's down, but I'm really shocked.
Oh my goodness, Buford Academy.
Oh, that's surprising. Yes. Yeah, wow.
Oh my goodness, Buford Academy jumps back ahead on a safety on a bad snap.
Wow.
Into the end zone. Buford Academy goes back on top with a go-ahead safety. They lead at 23-21 with 3 minutes to go, and they get the ball.
Yeah, wow, that's huge for Buford Academy.
The Eagles are trying to stave off the upset bid.
And that puts them in prime position to hold on to the
not only
score.
They get the safety, but they get the ball back.
Yeah.
Yep. So,
yeah, absolutely. But what a great game. And we have Lowco Sports own Tim Alonso over at Buford Academy tonight.
At the end of the game,
I'm sure he's enjoying that.
Yeah, Tim Alonso doing some reporting over there. A good one at BEA. Yeah. And then, a touchdown pass. Was he in bounds, though? He is. Touchdown Bluffton. That breaks up the shutout as the Bobcats get on the board late on a pass from Eden McCarthy, and it is 35-6. So it may certainly too late to come all the way back, but maybe some confidence for McCarthy. A nice throw to the right corner of the end zone there as Bluffton gets on the board with about 9.5. There's your score updates. And
Wes, we have a final score here at Hilton Head Christian.
There as we get down
we have a final score here at Hilton Head Christian tonight. Final score here, 42-7. Hilton Head Christian Academy will move on to play Wilson Hall next Friday at the Barons Field up at Wilson Hall. What a great game for the Eagles, and we'll be talking about that later on tonight about just how well this team played. This is the best football I've seen this team play all season long, and it's about time they do it.
Hey, I will tell you that this team historically has peaked in the postseason, no matter how poorly they played in the past. So I said, who's most likely to win the state championship after Thomas Taylor? I said Hilton Head Christian Academy. And a lot of people doubted me. Now, I mean, this was a game they were supposed to win. They did, but the way they did it, dominant fashion, I think it bodes well for them. Now, there's a lot of work left to be done. Wilson Hall's going to be a tough test, and of course, most likely get Pinewood if they get to the state championship game. But
yeah,
so Arraj here with us from a very happy age over there. Has this changed your expectations about the team going forward as they get to the semifinals?
Yeah, I think so. I think Christian Academy has the upper hand. I was talking to one of the refs who are, refereeing the game tonight. He's seen both Wilson Hall and Hilton Head Christian Academy this season, and he thinks Hilton Head Christian Academy is by far the better team against Wilson Hall. And he thinks that if this game is played next Friday, which it will be, that this will be a complete and utter blowout for Hilton Head Christian Academy to move on to the state championship game and hopefully have a chance against Pinewood Prep. But again, great game tonight. I'll talk a little bit later on when I get back to my house and, talk about just how good they played tonight. And it's about time. I think, I said the other night, it's time to wake up, Hilton Head Christian County. It's time to play Eagles football the way we know you can. And so they did just that. Barely any penalties, which was really good to see out of them. We talked about that being an issue for them. and it could have costed them the game.
Yep.
It didn't, because they had no penalties tonight. They had 1 or 2 penalties tonight on the offensive side of the ball, and that was it. And so for those reasons, Helena Christian Academy absolutely storms over Florence Christian. Final score here from Eagles Field, 42-7. And I will get back with you, Wes, in just a second. I'm debating. I might just, for the 9 minutes left, go over to Bluffton High School and just watch some more football. See if I can hang out with the fellas over at WHHI.
All right. Not a bad call. Not a bad call, brother. Thank you, Max. We'll see you in a bit. Max Arraj reporting from Hilton Head Christian County, the Cage, a very happy Cage indeed, as they trounce their first-round opponents. A dominant victory to begin their postseason campaign, 42-7 over Florence Christian, and Bobcats getting the board, but certainly running out of time. The Seahawks trying to melt down that clock, 35-7 over Bluffton in this Bridge Bowl that has been a little shocker for most of us, expecting to be a lot closer. But the Seahawks early and often just tremendous job on the run. Zarnek, it's hard to choose a player of the game. You just see how what WHHI does, who they decide, because I think there are a couple of deserving candidates, most notably Zarnecki as well as Troy Timko. Timko with maybe the best game that he has ever had as a Seahawk. Just seeing, and there goes Zarnecki as he makes a spin move, and he's still going down the side. And my God, Zarnecki and Troy Timko with some tremendous showings in the backfield. And the run game has been paramount all season long, and we're seeing it maybe the best it has been all year, especially against the solid Bluffton defense that's come and held May River to a modest total a week ago. So, I mean, all systems go for Hilton Head's offense. Ranazuski could throw it as well. He completed a touchdown pass earlier on in this game to Carson Haynes. So absolutely rolling now. This Hilton Head offense, not just running the ball, but in the passing game as well. We're going to just get the helm, and they are marching again down the field with under 8 to go as they try to put the finishing touches on a statement win over the rival Bluffton Bobcats. It's been a while since we've seen a dominant victory for the Seahawks in this rivalry. Bluffton has taken the last couple, and even so before that, when Jalen Snead was there and he powered Hilton the victory, that was a closer kind of a game. And Justin Jarrett, I believe he was calling the game, but he is in the green room. JG, are you joining us now, or are you still calling it for WSAV? We're gonna. JJ, are you there, or are you just hanging out? And I think he's on the call, so maybe he'll join us after this one is over. But for right now, Hilton Head trying to find the end zone once again. They are in the red zone, and Zarnecki has been the dude tonight. And just the explosiveness and the vision by both of these backs will come back via a holding penalty. So that is looking good for Hilton Head to put finishing touches over there. And we got some finals to tell you about, or at least one more final that has finished up, as we tell you about some more SCISA playoff games in this first round. What an effort by JP2. They come up short 25-14, but I'll tell you what, I think most people predicted a much higher margin than that. But credit to the Golden Warriors for fighting hard in this one. It ends up being just a 11 points win for Wilson Hall. And I will tell you what, this tells me two things. JP2 delivered a very valiant effort on the road. But this also tells me a bit that maybe Wilson Hall might not be the team we thought they were in terms of as dominant as we think they could be in this matchup like this. Here comes Troy Tipko again, and he's going to break another defender into the end zone. Touchdown, Hilton Head. Troy Tipko, have yourself a night. And it is all Hilton Head, but another flag is down. Another flag is down. Just when we thought that Troy Tipko is going to pick up another score, let's check the call. And referees sorted that one out. But yeah, Wilson Hall, maybe not the team we expect them to be. As of now, I don't think Christian would come in, especially how they played tonight, being the favorite, even though they're going on the road. I think Hilton Christian County will be favored in that game in terms of my eyes heading into that semifinal next week, and it will be a holding call against Seahawks to wipe that touchdown off the board. Remains 35-7. Nullifies a tremendous run by Troy Timko, but still looking very, very solid. The Seahawks as they close this one out on the road against the Bluffton Bobcats. So yeah, a final over there. Wilson Hall will play Hilton Christian Academy coming up, and Beaufort Academy. Beaufort Academy. Well, sir.
Oh. Can you hear me, Wes? Wes, you're muted, man. Wes, you're muted, buddy.
I'm out. Bobcats.
Muted, Wes.
Bobcats take a time out. I'd like to give a big shout out to some of our bigger sponsors this year.
Wes, you're muted, bud.
Center Point Cabinets for our turnover sponsorship. We are working on a first down sponsor and Treewise Men, a touchdown sponsor. Of course, without all of the help that we receive from Bobcat football, it's very hard to put this program together. We thank our sponsors immensely for your support throughout the year.
What's up, Wes? Dude, you're muted. You're muted, buddy. Oh. All right, well, I guess I'm running the show now. I'm over here at Bluffton High School. 42-7 is the score. The Seahawks are ahead with 2:26 left to go in the fourth quarter. Not the game we all were expecting. We all called it a one-possession game on Thursday night. Big pass there and big hits. And we got a player down here. And, all right, you guys got back up.
Yeah, here we are. Yeah. Technology is sometimes unreliable. Sometimes it is. Sometimes
yeah.
But we are.
We have our moments with Wi-Fi's. The gremlins keep getting us, man.
Yeah. But hey, we are back, and let's run through the scores one more time as we continue here on Lowco Pigskin Live. Wes Kerr and Max Arraj here, and Hilton Head High making a big statement. They are up big 42-7 over the Biloxi Bobcats. They are in line to get the number 2 seed in the region and the number 5 overall. They would host a first-round playoff game. Meanwhile, we would get a potential Mayor Bluffton rematch, which would be a first-round playoff game over Abby Den coming up next week as well. If that holds, if the bracket holds, we'll get to more. Hopefully, we can find some brackets by the night, if not sometime on the weekend as it goes along. But that's what we have over there. Seahawks putting the finishing touches on a victory at the Den. And then we mentioned over in SCISA with the quarterfinals, the playoffs underway. We had Hilton Head Christian Academy 42-7 over Florence Christian as they move on, and they will face the Wilson Hall, who took down JP2, but it wasn't a blowout. It was a tight one, or at least the final was a tight one, 25-14. So a nice effort by the Golden Warriors to make it a close one, or at least closer, certainly closer than we would have thought. So a terrific job by JP2 on the road over there. So it's Wilson Hall HHGA and one of the high school or the high SCISA 3A quarterfinals. And then over in 2A, Hilton Head Prep down 42-27. That one, I don't think that one's over yet. That's still going on. Minute 18 to go, but good. Another great showing by Hilton Head Prep. 42-27 made it respectable against a solid Calhoun team. So credit for the Dolphins for how they performed in this game. We have a final from Thomas Hayward, 55-12 over Lee Academy. So the Rebels easily get past Lee in that one. And then going on towards a couple other scores in this 1A bracket, Dorchester with a 45-7 win over Carleton Prep. Unfortunate end of the season there for the Cougars, not showing up in this one on the road. Dorchester Academy will face off against Thomas Hayward next week in the semis. Your other semifinal will be between Williamsburg and Beaufort Academy. The Eagles just edging out Carolina Academy 23-21 on a game-winning safety. And then the Williamsburg Academy Stallions 55-6. 55-6 last check over Patrick Henry. So, a couple of shockers. That Dorchester Carleton Prep game, you expect Carleton Prep to at least be more competitive in that one, but that didn't happen. But then a really tight one over there at PA. But I want to hear more about these Hilton Head Christian Academy Eagles. Left quite a statement in this one. In their first round victory, it was all Eagles over at the Cage, 42-7. Tell us more about it, Max.
Yeah, I mean, look, we talked about Hilton Head Christian Academy and their penalties and mistakes, and was one of the reasons why we moved them down under Thomas Hayward in our power rankings on Wednesday, was that they hadn't really showed up for a game. I mean, they've been going through the motions, and that's not something you want to do as you head towards playoffs. But I think, us putting them down, I said it's time for Hilton Head Christian Academy to wake up, play some football, and play it like I know they can. And that's exactly what they did tonight against Florence Christian. Maybe 2 penalties on offense and no penalties on defense. Defense was rolling. An interception and 3 fumble recoveries tonight for the Hilton Head Christian Academy defense. What a game it was for them. And, just a great game for Hilton Head Christian Academy. It gives them confidence. It gets them ready to go. And also turnover on downs for Bluffton. So they'll give the ball back to Hilton Head with 37 seconds left in the fourth. But back to Hilton Head Christian Academy, I think if they keep playing like this, I see them absolutely destroying Wilson Hall. I think Wilson Hall is no match for this Christian Academy team when they play like this, like they played tonight. And if you do that, I think for those reasons, I would take Hilton Head Christian Academy next week on the road at Wilson Hall, because the way they played tonight, if they can keep doing that, it's going to be a great game for Hilton Head Christian Academy. And I think they have a better, more open-looking road to the state championship now.
They certainly do, and I think Wilson was a little underwhelming in that game against JP2. Golden Warriors hung around and made it a little interesting, but still a pretty solid win for that Wilson Hall squad, 25-14. But you kind of expect that this one will be Hilton Head Christian Academy with the favorite, the favored position heading into this game.
Hold on one second. Hold on. We have a final score from the Den. Final score, Hilton Head High School 42, Bluffton 7. Complete domination by the Seahawks. They will take the number 2 seed in the region, as Bluffton will take the number 3 seed and face off potentially against May River at home here for round 2 of the Bluffton rivalry. So this should be really fun first round of the playoffs, as Bluffton will be taking May River. We wait to see who Hilton Head will be facing come next Friday. But final score here from the Den, 42-7 in favor of the Seahawks.
Wow, I mean, quite a shocker just to see the rise that Hilton has had this year after a couple of years where you thought they were going to turn the corner, especially when they had guys like a Shike Thompson in the past year. They had Jalen Sneed before that, and they just haven't been able to get over the hump in terms of some big wins in the regular season. I remember last year they were competitive in a bunch of games, but they lost a bunch of close ones, and they just couldn't find the wins. And now they have put it all together this year in this region. And I said before, man, if they couldn't gotten out one more over Bishop England, they played a great game, just turned it over a couple of times. But other than that, they have rolled for the most part through this region. And that is something that I don't think we expect to see. I mean, you look at this region whole. And the funny thing is, like, didn't we? A lot of us picked Beaufort to win this region at top. I think Beaufort was the preseason number 1. They finished 5th, a distant 5th compared to everyone else. Meanwhile, Hilton Head, who is kind of middle of the pack, they kind of surged to that 2nd spot. And Bishop England, we thought, would be kind of a spoiler at best. They win the region. So quite an unpredictable year for Region 6 4A. So your final finish in that region, Bishop England 1, Hilton Head 2, Bluffton 3, May River 4, Beaufort 5, Carleton County 6. So quite a year over there in 6 4A. A very unexpected finish for a couple of those teams as we wrap it up.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this Bluffton team is going to need to get some pieces back as they head into next Friday's game against May River. but Hilton Head's looking really good right now, and I'm really excited to see who they face off with on home. First time in a while that I've seen Hilton Head have a home playoff game. So I'm excited to see how that place, how the Nest looks come next Friday against whoever they play. But for Bluffton, I think there are going to be some things they need to fix as they continue their season into the first round of the playoffs against May River. May River's ready to go for round 2. Hopefully Bluffton can be as well.
Trying to update some scores here into the ticker. I think at this point, all of them have gone final as we wrap up this night of high school football year. Mixture of high school league games. We may have another one that we bypassed. I saw in the comments that Ridgeland won in shutout fashion. Did they play Allendale Fairfax again, or potentially for the first time? Because they do have Allendale. Yeah, they do have Allendale.
Did they replay that game?
And I saw that they were. Well, I saw the comment that they won tonight. Now it said they already played, or at least they had a 12-0 final for Ridgeland earlier in the year. So we'll have to investigate that one if we know if you can give us some more info on that matchup.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I believe that game was like it was paused.
Or did they play somebody else? That's what I'm looking at. Yeah. That's right.
A few weeks back, because a few weeks back there was a fight that broke out over in Allendale when those two teams played, and so they had to pause that game, and it was being decided whether or not they would make up that game and finish that game out. So I guess that's exactly what they did.
Okay,
Yep,
so
Mr. Goldstone confirms it. Yeah, they did complete the Allendale game.
All right, thank you for clearing that one up. So yeah, another high school league game that has gone final over their 26-0 Ridgeland. Nice season there for the Jags. They're going to get a home playoff game as well.
Yeah, they're a team that's currently receiving votes at the 1A in the 1A rankings. So maybe they move up, go into next Friday, maybe hit that 10th spot. We'll see how they do. But they've had a great finish to their season. But we have 2 1A teams that are going to be in the playoffs this year. Alongside Ridgeland will be Hardyville as well. They finished off extremely strong, beating a top 10 team in Branchville. So I'm excited to see how both teams play. Hardyville is going to have a tough test, but Ridgeland, they might have a path to potentially getting to the semifinals or even the finals. They have the potential. They have the talent. We just got to see what kind of road they have as they head into the first round of those playoffs come next Friday.
Yeah, good to see some of these 1A teams looking strong heading the playoffs. For Ridgeland and Hardyville, those two teams undergoing a split very recently. We had Ridgeland and Hardyville, the Jaguars, competing for a number of years. This is the first year Hardyville has been separate from Ridgeland. They've had fielded 2 teams for the first time. So good to see both of them are still playing into the postseason, into mid to late November, which is a mark of a program that's on the rise, both of them. So congrats to the Jags, congrats to the Hurricanes as well from Hardyville, as both teams will advance to playing in the postseason, but trying to just put down all the last few scores that we have over here, including another final that just went across. Calhoun Academy 42, Hilton Prep 27. Much more competitive than we thought as well in this one. Nice showing for them.
Yeah, I mean, at one point it was a 20-14 game in favor of Calhoun, and we thought, wow, a 7-point game. And Hilton Prep has a chance, but unfortunately, I think Calhoun through 4 quarters is just better than Hilton Prep is. I think Hilton Prep got worn out as they headed towards the end of the third into the fourth quarter. So I think for those reasons, Hilton Head ended up losing their game. But what a season Hilton Prep has had. I mean, hats off to a new coaching staff trying to get this program back on the right foot, and they are certainly doing that. And they have a great start to this coaching staff's campaign. And man, Hilton Head Prep, dude, give them 2 more years, I say, and they may be a team potentially contending for a state title 2 years from now.
No doubt. Yeah, that's quite a showing from Hilton Head Prep in a playoff game where you're the 4 and you're having to go up against a 1 on the road. So a fantastic effort there and showing from the Dolphins. Doug McFadden did quite a job in year 1 and expect a lot more to come from them in the future. So a big shout out to the Dolphins, but that's great to see, because this is a team I mentioned before. They were on the verge of really really losing it. They had dwindling numbers the last few years, not as many players participating, and now you see with a new coach coming in with a energized mindset, you're seeing this team really find an extra gear, and that's awesome because they need a season like this, at least a season of improvement, and now you're getting to the sense where this team is going to attract more guys and get some more recruits.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we're talking about a prep team that maybe a couple years ago was potentially thinking about shutting down the program, shutting down that football program. And, Darren McFadden and the rest of his coaching staff has come in and given this program life. And it's great to see because we just, it was going to get to a point where if Helmet Prep couldn't start winning football games, there could have been a potential that there would be no more Dolphins football for the time foreseeable future. So what a great turnaround for Helmet Prep. Yeah, only 3 wins on the year, but they made the playoffs. That's something that coaching staff would be highly proud of after only their first season with a program that has not been to the playoffs in quite some time. So that's a great turnaround for Helmet Prep, and I can't be more excited to see what next season brings for them because I have a real feeling that they will be contending for a state title in the next 2 years, but also I think they'll be contending for potentially being a region champion, maybe even next season, depending on what players they get back and how this team will look at the beginning of next football season. But man, what a great season for Helmet Prep, and to go against the Calhoun Academy team that's one of the best in 2A and really give them a butt whooping, really fight against them for three and a half quarters is really something special to watch.
Yeah, it's awesome to see as someone who has seen a lot of those Hilton Prep games along the years and just a lot of disappointments throughout that time span. It just seemed like I remember Dave Adams put together a nice season. I mean, what a heck of a coach that he was a couple of years back. Tremendous career. He spent a number of years at Bluffton, and he had some different duties there, and just awesome career. Now they're starting to find it again, and just fantastic to see the growth that we saw throughout this year. But I mean, you just looking at some of these players, they do get Wyatt Harmer back. He's just a junior, I believe. They lose Jackson Steiner, who's an important guy. Wyatt Butler, also a senior. But they do have some solid guys coming back, and that's Jake Sheehan's going to be another big loss. So they do lose a couple of important guys, but Tyler Britchie, he's just a junior, I believe. So they got a couple important guys coming back this next year, and I feel like there'll be some younger guys coming up as well. I'm not sure how the junior varsity or just the 8th graders, younger guys, general look, but expecting to draw a couple more recruits, especially when you have a guy like Doug McFadden as your head coach, and then on the sidelines you also have Steve Fuller, the former Clemson.
Absolutely. So
that's awesome.
We have some teams that we've been waiting to see on for the last couple seasons to see how they would do, and Prep was one of them. And I'm really happy with how the Dolphins are going and how that team and that program has turned it around this year. Getting their first win in 2 years and then winning 2 more, and so really big and really great job by Helmet Prep, and I'm excited to see what Darren McFadden and that coaching staff has in store next season.
You keep saying Darren McFadden. That's the veteran.
Sorry,
running back. Yeah.
No, my bad.
Doug McFadden, not Darren
McFadden. So sorry. But again, just a great turnaround season for Helmet Prep, and excited to see what they do next year. But I'm also excited about the teams that will be competing next week in the semifinals. So it looks like Dorchester Academy will be potentially playing Thomas Hayward next Friday. So that should be a very interesting game to see for the semifinals. And Thomas Hayward will be hosting that game. So going to be some fun times over in Ridgeland next Friday. Who knows? Maybe we'll do a live show from Ridgeland next week for that incredibly big game. But of course, we have more games, not just Dorchester and Thomas Hayward. Helmet Christian Academy will be traveling next week to take on Wilson Hall in the SCISA 3A semifinals. Who else? Beaver Academy gets
Uh,
their win over Carolina Academy. They will be moving on. I believe they'll be facing, my guess would be Williamsburg Academy next
yes,
week.
yes, I would assume so. They're a big PHA, tough night for Patrick Henry end their season, so their chance to defend their title is over for the Patriots. And you kind of saw it coming. Losing nefarious brothers of Forrest and Hugh were such an integral part to that state championship winning team a year ago. It's tough to lose both those guys. And heck of a season for Michael Tucker Mathis. He did yeoman's work for that team. He was carrying that group to a couple of wins, but they just need a little bit more. They were kind of thin at the line, thin in a couple spots elsewhere in that lineup, and you got to have some more guys up there. So that you kind of saw that coming for Patrick Henry. Tough to see their season come to an end, but you get to see Beaver Academy with quite a game over there. And I think we both expected BA to handle that one a little more easily, but they had to battle until the very end at a safety with just under like 5 minutes or so left to win it 23-21. They got the safety, a bad snap, I believe, into the end zone. So they got the ball back on the free kick and were able to saw away, I believe, the rest of the clock, or maybe they stopped them if Carolina got the ball back. We don't know, but BA survives and advances.
Yeah, that's a really solid win for BA, but they only have to play one of the toughest teams in the SCISA 1A division next week against Williamsburg at Williamsburg, and that's a Williamsburg team that beat Thomas Hayward. That's a Williamsburg team that beat Thomas Hayward.
Man, wouldn't that be a fun state championship game?
Oh man, a rematch. Yeah, the rematch between those two teams, if it happens, will be huge.
Oh boy.
But we got other games that have finished tonight, including Hilton Head beating Bluffton 42-7. I'm intrigued to see who Hilton Head will be playing next week with Bluffton. Now, this one's an interesting one. They will be playing at home next week for round 2 of the Battle of US 278 against.
Yeah, as I said before, if it picked up with my mic was muted, so may miss a bit, but throughout what happened last week, doesn't matter anymore. It's all about what happens next week.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see how Hilton Head plays, how Bluffton plays after another tough loss tonight. A real butt whooping by the Seahawks. So I'm intrigued to see if Bluffton gets the pieces they need back, because I know they're missing a couple players, including Cordell Hawley, which was a huge key to their offense running.
I believe they will get him back for next week, per the broadcast on WHHI.
Yeah, as far as we know, that will be the game plan, is for Cordell Hawley to be back next Friday for their game against May River. And I think if they have him back, and hopefully if the field is dry, because for some reason whenever the field's wet, Bluffton has not been able to win a football game this year when it comes to the weather and everything. So I'm intrigued to see, how they do next week. Hopefully it's a dry field for them next week, because, wet weather seems to be a problem so far this season for Bluffton. They lost in the rain to Savannah Country Day. They lost in wet weather to Hampton County, and now I've lost a wet weather game to the Seahawks of Hilton Head High School. So we will see how Bluffton does next week. I'm intrigued to see how that game goes. But until that game comes around, we will definitely be talking about that this coming week on the Lowco Sports Lowdown, and what we think about how round 2 between these two schools will go. Hilton Head, I believe, will be playing. Let me check.
They could be playing Darlington. They could play South Aiken, maybe a little Richland. As of my bracketology kind of attempt yesterday, I think it's either probably Darlington or South Aiken, depending on what happens in the next. And this whichever teams play today. I don't think there are many teams that are left who have played this week. I think most of them have it off, but one of those. And I think either of those teams, I would expect Hilton to be favored in this matchup, especially by how they showed out tonight. I would think they would be focused and ready to go at home. It has been a while since the Seahawks have hosted a playoff game. I believe they may have had a home contest in, let's say, 2019. But that was 5 years ago. But they didn't win it. But the last game they won If I can, I'm going to look it up on Max Preps. It was in 2015, which was 9 years ago. It's been a while since the Seahawks have won a playoff game in high school football. But BJ Payne has put together a heck of a squad. Tonight, it was the Troy Timko and Thaddeus Zarnecki show. Those two ran it down the throats of from the outset, from the first.
Yeah, and I'll be looking at the film of this game on WHHI, which was streaming live tonight, along with WSAV and Buford Tone, all here for this game tonight. Not the way I think they wanted this game to go, but I'm sure we'll be seeing how both teams play. I think that defense for Hilton Head has found how to stop the passing game. And that is a huge thing. We've been talking about that. We've been talking about that this season with Hilton Head. Is they have a great run defense, but the passing defense has been their weakness. It wasn't tonight. Their pass defense was on fire, and they held Hilton Head to quite a bit. So, it's really good to see this Hilton Head Seahawks defense hold them to 7 points. That's what you want to see out of Hilton Head High School. So I think for those reasons, I see Hilton Head being a real dangerous team. They're going to be a two-seeded team. So it's a great opportunity for Hilton Head to potentially have a path to the lower state finals, hopefully.
Yeah, but the second round game is not going to be easy. They have to go against South Florence, and that's a doozy of a match.
That'll be a tough game, but we've seen Hilton Head face off against some tough opponents this year, and they've held their own pretty well. So I'm intrigued to see if Hilton Head wins their game next Friday, how they will do against potentially South Florence. So I'm intrigued to see if Hilton Head can, really put on a butt whooping next Friday against whoever they play, whether that be South Aiken or Darlington. But also, I think, we saw them early in the season play a 5A school in James Island, a very good 5A school in James Island, only held James Island to three touchdowns. I'm intrigued to see how they can do if they end up playing South Florence, because South Florence and James Island like to play the same kind of football at times. So I'm intrigued to see if Hilton Head can figure out a way to stop South Florence if Hilton Head gets to the second round, but we shall see.
We shall see, indeed. That should be an interesting one for the CX. I'll take them against any of those teams. I'll take them against Darlington. I'll take them against South Aiken. I like the way they're playing. They're playing playoff football already. The defense has been the big story. Spangler's been terrific. Zarnecki was doing it on all sides. All three phases, offense, defense, and special teams. That dude is just – and the great thing is he's only a sophomore. He's only a sophomore, folks. He's got 2 more years left in him over there at Tilton. That's a scary thought, isn't it?
Yeah. What's up, guys?
How's it going?
Welcome to the show.
Hey, look, I got here just in time. Max has police lights around him. It's about to get really good over here.
I saw some flashing lights.
Bluffton security, man.
Loco after dark. Here we go.
Misa Garzon joined us here to talk some not football, some football.
Oh, is this the wrong show? Oh, I'm in the wrong show. I'm sorry, guys.
You can stay on. Please. Hey, no, we still want you on because you can provide some good insights, especially on what looks like we will have next week. Another Bluffton May River matchup. This time it looks like it's going to be at Bluffton in the first round of playoffs. And so guess what? You get May River gets a do-over.
So good. The high school league football guys are trying to copy soccer and having a home at home in the same season. But what I'm curious to see, because traditionally, and this is the first year we're doing the RPI system in 4A, but traditionally the high school league does not like region matchups in the first round for playoffs traditionally. And I don't know if that's going to hold or if it's going to respect the RPI it's what it is.
So, according to South Carolina High School League, that will not hold. So they will be playing May River next Friday.
There you go. So so it's going to be fun. I mean, I wasn't able to attend. I was unable to go last week to the game last Friday, but I did watch on WHHI. And what's interesting is if you guys saw the game tonight, Hilton Head was having its way, rushing, running the ball. I mean, Bluffton couldn't tackle nothing. Like they were just having their way with running attack, which is interesting because last week I thought Bluffton did a very good job stopping May River's attack, which is the strongest in the region. They just run. Part of that is the competitiveness of a big rivalry game. Everybody knows those two programs have a lot of history, a lot of rivalry. And so I think that played into it. But now I want to see how Bluffton's going to react after what was a very lopsided and unexpected loss. I thought Hilton Head was going to win tonight. I didn't think they were going to win in that way. They just completely dominated all facets of the game tonight. So I'm curious to see what Bluffton's response is going to be next week with their mindset, hosting the first round playoff game. May River is rested. They didn't play tonight, so they'll be well rested. I know the coaching staff has looked at the tape from last week, and they're probably looking at tape tonight already to get a game plan.
They got to be thrilled. They got to be thrilled to get another chance at Bluffton because they thought they had them, or at least had a chance to force overtime. And Coach Bonneville deciding to go for it on a fourth down in short instead of potentially trying a field goal, but it doesn't matter now. You get another chance, and this is the one that matters. So I think that mindset's going to be good for May River, and I kind of think I like him in a rematch, even though, especially with the week off. I think I like him with a week off, and the way Bluffton kind of couldn't find it tonight, and May River presents another tough challenge defensively. So kind of have to think it over for a bit before we pick the game, but it's going to be a fun one for sure. How often do you get a rematch in the first round? I mean, this is the first opportunity because I don't remember having a situation like this in the past, because what happened was you had a system where you couldn't face off the same region. That's how the bracket was built. You end up on one region versus another region. So it's like, in March Madness in basketball, it's impossible. They don't let you do it. A lot of other sports, they don't let you do it. That's been the same way for a lot of these high school league sports, but this is different it's kind of like the NFL. You can have those cross or like a Steelers Ravens in the first round of the playoffs, so that kind of stuff like that, which is, it'll make it exciting to have a region matchup in round one, because a guaranteed winner in round two, or who guaranteed winner will get to round two.
Yeah. I think for Bluffton tonight, I think what they were really missing was Cordell Hawley tonight. Yep. They really missed him tonight, because without that running game, while they can make some noise in the passing game, they got the weapons. But without that running game, really, Hilton Head was just focused on the pass, because they knew that, whoever was going to be in a running back for Hilton Head was going to be ineffective for them. Because really their only other running back has had, like we said the other night, 4 carries on the season. So, I mean, look, it's tough for Bluffton to lose this way, but, not only were they missing Cordell Hawley, they were missing key defensive players as well, especially on the defensive line. So, I think, well, I called for Bluffton to win this game, and it was going to be a possession game, but no one expected, the game to go this way, no matter who won or who lost. It's very surprising, but also for me, looking back on it and the players that Bluffton was missing, it's not overly surprising for me, because when you're missing some key players, that can hurt your team a lot, especially against the Seahawks team, who are really good on the run defense. But we mentioned that one of their weaknesses was their passing defense, but their passing defense showed up tonight.
Yeah, they were phenomenal tonight.
I think they've figured out how to play, both run and passing defense, and I think that's really scary for whoever they play next, which would either be, I believe, South Aiken or potentially Darlington. So
we can get the brackets. I'm gonna look nice. I mean, probably won't get them yet.
Something else, Max, to mention what I saw tonight was Hilton Head's front line did a very good job containing McCarthy on the run.
They did.
So McCarthy usually can extend the play and extend the series with his feet running the ball when there's no passing options, and they couldn't do that tonight. They were containing him most of the night.
That is very true, but again, he was really their only option when it came to running the football, because Cordell Hawley was out.
Right.
So they were going to be focused on whether or not he runs the football.
They didn't really trust they didn't really trust in the other guys. I mean, Jacoby Saunders was the starting running back, but they gave him a couple times, but they just weren't able to really respect the run game with them compared to what we saw with Holly. So that takes away really an aspect of their offense, and it forces, the Hilton Head can kind of step back and play more, trying to defend pass defense, which they did a really good job of. And that was one of the worries of Hilton Head, like they couldn't defend the pass, and they kind of shut down for the most part. McCarthy shut them out until like the fourth quarter when they got on the board finally. But yeah, I mean, Hilton Head's defense is top class right now, and they are playing some just hard-nosed ball on all three phases. BJ Payne has created quite a squad this year. But you look at Hilton Head and the way they play offense tonight, of course, the run game taking the full story, or most of the highlights, most of them. But I want to talk about the way that Ranczewski has played ever since that bad performance at Bishop England. We turned over like 4 or 5 times. He has been sensational since then, and he came up with another big touchdown pass at the end of the first half. So talk about the way, like, he has been quite a revelation in terms of his play at quarterback. And when you add that in with the run game, this offense is starting to look pretty formidable.
He's only a sophomore. So yeah. I got to correct you guys on how to say his last name because his mom is a counselor at May River. It's Ranczewski.
Ranczewski, all right.
Ranczewski.
Yeah.
Yep. So it's Ranczewski. I was gonna text Javon in the broadcast. I was watching Beaufort's own. I didn't realize we had 3 different stations running tonight. I just went to Beaufort's own because that's where I go to. But yeah, he had a solid game tonight, managing the game, and he's had a very good season. And he's only a sophomore, which is the crazy part. Like you guys were talking earlier during the Westmax hour that Hilton Head wasn't a preseason favorite to finish second or even make the playoffs. Like we thought they were going to be kind of that 4 or 5 area fighting for that 4th spot, and they've had a heck of a season. I mean, they dominated May River, completely shutting down our attack. They dominated Bluffton tonight. They lost to Bishop England, which a game, I think if they play it again, it will be a much closer, much different result. But kudos to them. Kudos to Coach BJ Payne, coming out of nowhere. And with a sophomore quarterback in a 4A region like ours, that's not easy to do. And I that's not something that teams should take lightly. I think they'll win the first round game. They're going to have a tough second round game if they're able to get past the first round, because then they're going to get the 5 seed. So they will potentially end up playing South Florence in the second round, assuming that South Florence wins in their first round game. And South Florence is a very good squad. But yeah, Ranczewski's had a heck of a season as a sophomore. He's only got more experience to get here. So imagine him next year as a junior with an established offense, more comfortable. Tonight, the pass he made, how did the wide receiver get that open? We couldn't see it on the angle. Like, what happened there?
Yeah, well, kind of breakdown defensively it was a tough night overall for Bluffton's defense, and I think that had large part to it. You couldn't stop the run, and that's kind of what demoralized that group. They could not stop that run game. It seemed like the holes were opening up all game long, and both Troy Timko and Tyus Rernecki and a couple others made use of that. Ranczewski also was creating some offense with his legs as well. He scrambled, pick up the first down early in the game, and he knows when to take off and run it. It's a pretty solid sophomore quarterback, I gotta say. Hey, Justin Jarrett, are you ready to join us here? He's on his way back.
Yeah, I'm headed home. I'm in the car now. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable showing by Hilton Head tonight. Just dominated from the outset. Felt like they really set the tone on that first drive. Just ran it down the field with ease, put it in the end zone. Then the 99-yard drive was
that was
special.
That was insane.
Started from their 1 after the great punt from Bluffton, went the entire length of the field. That was quite a statement drive there by Hilton Head.
I think we all knew that Cordell Holly being out was going to be a major factor for Bluffton. I think we underestimated his importance to that offense. They couldn't do anything in the run game, but Hilton Head's game plan was terrific too, and it wouldn't have been as effective if Holly was in there, I don't think, but still was really smart. They pressed the receivers at the line of scrimmage, didn't give up any short passes that they could have substituted for a running game, made them try to commit to that inside run. And then they had Zarnecki just sitting back and spying McCarthy all night. Every time he stepped up in the pocket, he stepped up in the hole. And they just had nothing going. It was really impressive game plan and execution from Hilton Head.
What a beast Zarnecki is. He's only a sophomore, which is absolutely wild. Mentioned it a few times tonight, both us and Marcus Walsh on the WHHI broadcast. Man, we had a bunch of crews over there. Buford's own, WSAV, WHHI. It was packed over there in that press box, but it must have been awesome, especially Seahawks, man. I really enjoyed
at least that press box can hold that.
Yeah, Bluffton has a sizable press box for that, so credit to the Bobcats.
Yes.
We can't relate. We don't know what that feels like at May River.
No.
Yeah.
They got about a third of the press box.
A third would be a miracle. I wish we had a third of the press box at May River.
No, you got about a third.
But
it's a mighty good press box, though.
Max, where'd you go? I was about to talk to Max Arraj, and he just dipped down here.
He'll be back.
Yeah.
He'll be back.
But yeah, certainly you were able to see some of the other scores, a couple of them standing out to me. Hilton Christian Academy made a beating on West Christian 4-7, so that was quite of a shocker over there. Just the margin of victory to see what happened with HHAs. They're looking really strong heading to the semifinal against Wilson Hall. BA had to fight to get that win, 23-21. They edged out Carolina Academy on a go-ahead safety with under 5 minutes to go. Bad snap into the end zone. They get the safety. They get the ball back. They're able to saw away the win. But, man, the surviving and advancing are the BA Eagles, and that one, 23-21. Tough night for Carleton Prep. They lose big against Dorchester Academy. We kind of maybe underestimated Dorchester a bit in that one, but Carleton Prep just unable to show up in this one.
Yeah, that one puzzled me a little bit because they beat the doors off Dorchester just 2 weeks ago. So not sure what transpired there, but certainly Dorchester, a big bounce back win. I mean, they were undefeated until a couple weeks ago and looked like the team to beat maybe right there with Thomas Hayward. So now we get to see that matchup next week. Should be a good one.
Yeah, a couple of great matchups, especially when we look at the 1A bracket and the chance for potential local championship team over there. We got in your semifinals, going through it again here. Thomas Hayward facing off against Dorchester Academy, and then Buford Academy against Williamsburg. So all home teams holding serve in win, although BA just barely getting by the Carolina. It's like the Ohio State University. They go by the Carolina Academy. That's what I remember seeing in the past. So that's what I'm saying here. But a close one over there. Give credit to both JP2 and Hilton Head Prep for putting a heck of a performance on their opponents on the road. You look at the final there, JP2 hung in there 25-14. Wilson Hall over John Paul II. And then a respectable effort as well from Hilton Head Prep, 42-27. Calhoun over the Dolphins. So great sign of things to come for Hilton Head Prep, especially for Doug McFadden.
Yeah, and I told y'all JP2 had a shot in that game. Wilson Hall's not all that. I think Hilton Head Christian's got him next week.
Oh, I do too. I definitely agree. If Chris County plays like they did tonight, which was they had, I believe, 2 penalties on offense the entire night. That was what I've been waiting to see out of them all season long, is having a near penalty-free game from them, because that has been their biggest issue all season long, is they've had penalties left, right, and center, especially on the offensive side of the ball. If they've figured out how to stop making those penalties, this team would have been rolling against some of the teams that they struggled against early in the games. They did it tonight. They stopped the penalties. They rolled over Florence Christian, and that defense for Hilton Head Christian tonight was on fire. I believe they had 3 fumble recoveries tonight and 2 interceptions tonight for the defense. What an amazing defensive effort for Hilton Head Christian Academy, and they scored, I think, like 28 points in the third quarter. So, they absolutely put a beating on Florence Christian. And the way Wilson Hall's been playing lately, I don't see a way that Hilton Head Christian Academy doesn't win this game if they continue to play like this.
And they could pull out a multi-possession win if what holds from tonight comes true again next week.
Well,
I think
yeah,
they-
I
think
mentioned-
cruise next week.
I mentioned the West, and I'll share it with you guys. I was talking to the ref that was running the clock up in the up in the booth for the Hilton and Christian Academy game, and he had told me he had seen both Wilson Hall and Hilton and Christian Academy play, and he said Hilton and Christian Academy is by far the better team when they don't make penalties. If
But,
they can do that against Wilson Hall, I see Hilton and Christian Academy winning for sure by more than 2 possessions.
Yeah, and I'd love to see a rematch with Pinewood Prep. Pinewood Prep dominated them in the first game, but I'd love to see just what Ron Peduzzi and Matt Smith and coaching staff come up with for a rematch as far as adjustments, because I think it would be a more competitive game, certainly. I don't know
by
that
the
they would win
way-
it, but I
Yeah. By the way, on the other side of the bracket, a couple of finals. Pinewood Prep 49, Trinity Collegiate 13. And then we got Northside Christian 53, First Baptist 28. So the other semifinal, Northside Christian taking on Pinewood Prep. Expect the Panthers to be sizable favorites in that one. And then, of course, Hilton Christian Academy facing off against Wilson Hall. So those are your 3A semifinals. So still a team there in 3A, and we got a couple of teams left in 1A in that bracket. As I said, Thomas Hayward, Dorchester, one matchup, and then Williamsburg, VA on the other side. So that's what we got over there. And Max, we are well behind on sponsoring. Max, you want to do the honors?
I will. Let me get up the sponsor in a second. Does anyone know any details on the Ridgeland game while I get up these sponsors?
26-0.
26-0. Yeah,
26-0.
Maybe
The
that
game
was me.
started
Yeah,
12-0.
I saw her.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was they finished a pause game from what we were saying
Right.
earlier.
Right.
Yeah,
So
so,
that's
so-
a 2 seed for them, and they'll be at home next week.
Yeah.
yeah,
Home
so
playoff
they
game for the
play
Jazz.
they play is it
against
Scotts Branch? I think they play next week. Hold on.
See if we can pull up that.
Ridgeland will play. Yeah, Ridgeland will host Scotts Branch next week, and Hardyville will travel to Lakeview. Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
Thursday night for the Ville game.
Thursday night football.
All right. Well, I got the sponsors up here, so let's go through them. Starting with our all-star sponsor, Mickelson Law Firm. Mickelson Law Firm as our first sponsors and are still with us since the beginning, which is a testament to the people and community leaders they are. And that's what you get when you call on the Mickelson team for all your legal needs. Proud sponsors of winnable Hilton Head Christian Academy team tonight. So I'm sure the Mickelson family is extremely excited for that win tonight. And then our MVP sponsors, which are, hold on, I'm getting them up here. Homegrown Inspections. Jan over there at Homegrown Inspections. It was a pleasure to see the firsthand of expertise in customer service that Homegrown Home Inspections bring. If you're building a new home, you can't afford to do it without a face inspection from Homegrown Inspections. They'll be your eyes and ears and your biggest advocates until move-in day. And Hospice Care of the Lowcountry. We love the wonderful caring staff at Hospice Care of the Lowcountry, and we have seen firsthand how hard they work and how much they care. James Disman is a great friend here for Lowco Sports, leading a tremendous team at Hospice Care of the Lowcountry, where it's not about dying, it's about living. And as well as Megan Jarrett. Hey, that's Justin's wife. And the biggest behind-the-scenes supporter, biggest behind-the-scenes supporter of Lowco Sports since the very beginning. She's an agent, and she's ready to help you find your starter home or your forever home in the Lowco. We can't speak to the work ethic of every realtor in the Lowco, but we can imagine one who will work harder for you than Megan Jarrett, the official realtor of Lowco Sports, and the queen bee of our Lowco Hive. So before we get to our next set of sponsors, I did want to mention JP2. Now, it's been such a frustrating year, but can I just say, for them to play the way they did tonight, that's a really great way to end the season for JP2. I really, really like how they fought against Wilson Hall. And we know Wilson Hall has had some struggles And, JJ called it. Don't be surprised if JP2 puts up a fight against Wilson Hall, and they surely did. And making it much closer than I think we all thought it would be, apart from JJ. Wes, you and I didn't think JP2 was going to be able to do anything on offense tonight. And sure enough, they were able to, make it a ball game for a good 3 quarters against Wilson Hall. It was only a 13-point game at the half. JP2 scored a touchdown, and then, Wilson Hall kind of finished it off towards the end of the third quarter into the fourth quarter. But my goodness, what a great way to end the season for the Golden Warriors of JP2. I know it's been a really rough year for them, really only having 1 win on the season, but I wouldn't be shocked if JP2 can find a way to become competitive next season. I'm intrigued to see how they do. But great way to end the season for JP2, and I'm sure we can definitely see what the Golden Warriors bring next season. But great finish this season despite the loss for JP2. I'm excited to see how they do. Justin's left us, but I'm sure he just got home, so he may be joining us back on here in just a second. So while we wait and see if he returns, we'll go to our varsity sponsors, starting with DDS Web Design. Hey, Logo Sports fans, we're all doing so much online these days. Do you have a website that isn't getting clicks, or maybe you just need a website, period? DDS Web Design will get your site up and running quickly and use the best search engine optimization tactics to make sure you get found online. Dave and Denise and the team at DDS especially love working with small businesses and nonprofits to help them do more and think bigger. Check them out at ddshhi.com and tell them Lowco sent you. The Parker Law Group, our friends at the Parker Law Group have been serving folks with their legal needs across Hampton, Colleton, and Jasper County for years. We appreciate their support and allow us to continue to expand our coverage in those counties and shine a light on more deserving teams and student athletes around the country. And Rooted Living with our man Ambrose at Rooted Living Wellness. Go see him for more great insight on your body and how to feel better. And of course, Reverence Wrestling Club, who has been getting ready to get on the grind as wrestling season begins. So I'm excited to see what some of the people who represent Reverence Wrestling Club will be doing at the high school and middle school level, from what I've heard from Justin over this past week. Seeing how the Reverence Wrestling Club does in the high school circuit as well as the middle school circuit. And those are our sponsors of Lowco Sports.
Getting to that time, yeah.
Yeah, I'm in wrestling mode now. Once practice started, I started getting in wrestling mode.
Right.
But, yeah, boys. Good job on the sponsors, Max. Good job.
Yeah.
I do my best.
Yeah, you did a great job.
Thank you.
But yeah, kind of a weird night, right? Like, I didn't expect that Hilton Head game to go like it did. And then Hilton Head Christian, I thought that would be a little bit more of a fight. BA, I thought would have a little less of a hard time. THA was about the only one that went like I thought it would.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, not all the results were maybe altered our expectations, but just the way they happened, like that Hilton Bluffton game. You could expect that one to be close. You didn't expect Beaufort Academy to be close. You thought they would run over Carolina Academy, and I definitely thought that College had a chance against Dorchester Academy. That didn't happen. But yeah, a couple of interesting finishes in tonight. We get Cross Lawrence Academy.
Yeah, they lost 58-22. It was 42-8 at halftime.
Oof.
Yeah. I've also been told something that's interesting, and Misa, you may have more insight into this. So I was operating under the impression that after the top 3 teams in the region, that it was all going to be RPI and 4A. But now I'm being told that someone from the CSRA region told me that they were under the impression that it was the top 6 from Region 4, the top 5 from Region 5, and the top 4 from Region 6, and then RPI to just fill out the last 5. But that's not the way I'm understanding it all.
No, from what I'm understanding, what we've been told, top 3 are the region champions.
Yeah.
4 through 6 are the second place finishers in region. 7 through 9 are the third place finishers, and then 10 through 15 is all RPI. and then you have the at-large as the
Right.
very last seed, which is any team from the state, from
That's
upper
the
state
way
or
This
lower
is
state.
lower state at large, though, so I don't.
Yeah, I
so,
mean, I wouldn't put it
like,
past.
theoretically, Buford could be the 16 seed in lower
Right.
state.
I've got them as
With
the
the
15.
RPI
Yeah,
holds.
because of the great collegiate.
Yes,
they
and that's
were
the other thing.
yeah.
With great collegiate,
They
unless
were
they're
eligible. They forfeited a bunch of wins with the ineligible players. So
unless great collegiate wins their appeal Monday, when they go to the appellate panel, they lost tonight, I believe, to North Augusta. So if
that
Great
was supposed to be the
Collegiate-
region championship.
Yep.
Before the
So Great Collegiate is currently 0-10. If they win their appeal, they would finish second in the region,
Right.
which would then kind of reshuffle everything. What's for sure, I believe, is the teams in our area where they're going to be. Hilton Head's going to be the 5 seed.
Yeah.
May River will be the 10 seed. Bluffton will be the 7 seed. Buford, if they accept this playoff spot, could potentially be in those lower seed areas. I'm not sure. I haven't gotten that far yet. That's guaranteed.
I would.
Hilton Head.
I'll tell you,
Hilton
Hilton
Head?
wouldn't mind being the 6th seed and having that
Well,
second match.
I think I think there's a chance they could jump to the 4 because they and South Florence are not separated by that much, and they're going to get a boost in both winning percentage and opponent.
Yeah.
But see, I think the right now, like if you look at the RPI right now, and this will be updated tomorrow morning. We'll know tomorrow before 11 o'clock what the playoffs are going to be, except Great Collegiate. Right now, South Florence's opponents' winning percentage
is really high,
61.4, whereas Hilton Head is 45.4. Now that'll go up tonight because Bluffton did have a winning record. But it's not gonna. I don't think it'll go up substantially enough that
Bluffton's opponent's winning percentage is gonna help them a little bit too.
Yeah, because Hilton Head's opponent's percentage is not the opponent's winning percentage is not.
I will give you the score tonight between North Augusta and Great Collegiate was very close. It was a 3-point game, 20-17 in favor of North Augusta tonight. But if Great Collegiate does somehow win their appeal, which I just have a weird feeling they won't, they won't. And if they do, where would that actually put them?
It would put them in the 4 through 6 range.
So if Great Collegiate were to win their appeal before the forfeits all went down, Great Collegiate would have been the 5 seed, and then Hilton Head would become the 6 seed because Great Collegiate was just behind South Florence before the forfeits. Now,
they were
South Florence would be the
Great Collegiate may have surpassed South Florence with tonight's game because North Augusta has such a high winning record. That may have been enough even in their loss because I think Great Collegiate would have been 7-3.
I thought they were 8th. I had them 8th in the RPI.
Who Great Collegiate?
Great Collegiate before they were damn.
Yeah, they were right there. They were right there with South Florence.
Waiting for the RPI, which is I guess the RPI, which was normally the college basketball RPI. So a quarter of the weighting goes to your winning percentage. A half of it goes to the opponent's winning percentage. The other quarter goes to the opponent's winning percentage. So that's kind of how it has been weighted in the past in terms of what has been normally used for the RPI. So
which is why I think South Florence will still finish at a Hilton Head because the bigger weight is the opponent's winning percentage.
Right.
So even though they may have a better winning percentage than South Florence because they finished 8-2 and SoFlo is 7-3, that opponent's winning percentage is huge because South Florence played a very, very tough schedule.
Yeah, brutal schedule. I mean, their strength of schedule is 62% or 61.3, 61.4. Hilton Head's is 45.4.
Yeah, so like that, and that's gonna be a factor in the playoffs as well. That's why we mentioned earlier if it ends up being a second round South Florence and Hilton Head matchup, even though on paper it's a 4-5. South Florence has had a much tougher schedule.
Yeah, but it'd be nice for Hilton to play that one at home.
It would make a big difference. We're all playing for second anyway because West Side's 8-0 with by far the hardest schedule.
Yeah, it's not even close. That's insane.
West Side crazy schedule. Powerhouse, but hey, I mean,
freaking 72% opponent winning percentage, and
they're undefeated.
Yeah, holy crap. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah,
that's insane.
But for Hilton to get one playoff win, maybe the chance at another, that would be a quite a terrific season. And I was talking earlier in the broadcast, but it has been a while. Hilton Head's last time they hosted a playoff game back in 2019, they lost to Wilson after they beat Bluffton the week before to win the home playoff game. That was 5 years ago. But you have to go back even further. The last time you actually won a playoff game at home, so that it's great to see Hilton Head get back to that level. And I think no matter who they play, they're going to be heavy favorites, I believe, next week, getting the opportunity to whoever they face at the Nest. So I'm pumped as a Seahawks fan, and this is awesome. This is what you were hoping for a number of years when you had those guys come through like Jalen Snead and Shake Thompson, the terrific players and doing really well at the next level. But now you were really starting to see a total package and guys who will bring it on offense, defense, and special teams. Man, Zornecki, absolute dude tonight. Not just offense. He was feasting defensively on Aiden McCarthy, and he was containing the quarterback all night long, making tackles defensively, spying on him, and then he made special teams plays too. Did it all.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, he set the tone with that kick return to start the game. Right, taking it out to midfield. Not that it mattered where they got the ball; they finished in the end zone no matter what. But I just looked this up, Wes. To your point, they haven't won a playoff game at all since 2015, which was at home against Aiken. Before that, it was 06, and before that, it was 97.
Wow.
Wait, it's a 9-year trend.
It is. Every night.
07, 06, 15, 24. It's a legit 9-year trend. This is a year to win a playoff game.
They're going to win a playoff game this year. It's guaranteed.
That is your random pure stat of the night. The stat of the night brought to you by Mickelson Law Firm, our all-star sponsor. Tonight's random obscure stat of the night.
The Seahawks win a playoff game every 9 years, whether they need to or not.
That's insane to think about, that Seahawks have only won a playoff game every 9 years. Because I can think of all the great players they have had over the years, and for them to have only won a playoff game every 9 years is just insane to think about.
Ford was right before.
Yeah, teams with Puna Ford.
You got to remember though,
Jalen Snead, Gaston Moore. A lot of players over the years, and for them that's very interesting. I didn't know that.
Well, they didn't even make the playoffs from 98 until through 05. They made it in 06.
Wow, that's crazy.
Now that was that run where they were playing Big 16 football for most of it. Mm-hmm. They were with the big boys, the Somervilles.
Right, because there wasn't
Tim Singleton brought them. Yeah, it was also much harder to make the playoffs back when there were only 4 classifications instead of 6 essentially now. So in 3A, literally everyone makes the playoffs this year.
Yeah,
like everybody who plays football.
Back then was hard for sure.
So it used to mean something to make the playoffs. It doesn't anymore. But they made the second round.
That's just a SCISA influence in the high school league, unfortunately.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, well, they expanded applications to 5. We
Max, I am going to go straight at SCISA playoffs any chance I can get.
Well, I was gonna say before you started,
they made the second round in 97, 06, 15, and 24. That 24 would continue the sequence.
So what that means is,
I was gonna say before me.
Bet it all on Hilton Friday.
He's not wrong when it comes to the SCISA influence, because really it's gotten to the point where everybody makes the playoffs. Why not? I don't get it, and I'm gonna go on a limb here. I don't like how SCISA playoffs are put together because of how small each division is and how many teams are in each division when it comes to football. It makes it difficult to not add teams.
Like probably a good number.
Like JP2 didn't win a single region game all year, and their only win was against Hilton Head Prep, and somehow they got in the playoffs. Now, granted, they had a great game tonight, but.
There's not enough.
Well, I'll tell you what, JP2 put back with a fight.
You gotta go with 8. You can't go with 4. They just need fewer.
Makes sense.
They can't get it right with 4. Can you imagine the chaos that would happen if you asked them to put 18?
It was better. it was better when they had
Right.
3 classifications rather than 4 for SCISA because there were more teams
Yeah,
in
I
each
like that better
division.
too. Yeah.
I
And it
honestly
made
agree.
Yeah.
I think that 2A classification is just kind of lost in the middle. Like,
oh yeah,
I
because
feel
that
like 1A
2A
and
division
1A and 2A are the same. I don't understand.
that
Like,
2A
there's a
division
few
used to
2As,
be
they should be 3A, and then all the rest of them should be 1A, and there shouldn't be any 2A. Oh,
well, pretty
doggo.
much all the pretty much all the teams from the 3A division right now were all at 2A
8
at
out
one
of
point when
9.
it was 3 classifications.
Right.
It was all Hillman Christian Academy, Florence Christian.
Right.
Thomas Hayward was in 2A
If
at
they're
one
going to
point.
have 4
No,
classifications,
Thomas
they're going
Hayward
to have
and
4
Hillman Christian
classifications.
Academy. Yeah,
They'll
because
get some charters.
Thomas Hayward and
They'll get
Hillman
charters.
Christian Academy at one point was a region game between the two teams
Right.
whenever
They
they
were
played.
at one point.
The Rebels and the
Yeah.
Eagles whenever they played, and it was a great rivalry. And I don't even remember the last time those two teams played.
They did
You
a
know,
couple of years ago, didn't they? It was the
Probably.
Yeah, they used to play.
Yeah. They
I
did.
know
They
they
did like
played.
2 years ago, maybe.
But I'm just saying, like when they had 3 classifications, which was when I was in school, because when I was in school, that was before they had it on the 4th classification, which
I've only had the
The
4A
three-
for like 2 years, right?
Yeah.
well,
it was-
Hammond and all
Well,
those
like,
Columbia
2021,
schools were at the 3A division, and it was perfectly fine that way. I don't understand why they had to add a 4th division.
This is probably the 3rd year because this is the 2nd edition of the realignment. So yeah, probably 22.
Right. Yeah, I think
23.
this is the 3rd
Yeah.
year. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Well,
that's right.
Hillman Christian Academy and JP2 are playing all their other sports at the 4A level. I don't understand why
Right.
can't they just play all
that I
sports
don't
at
get.
3A?
I don't get
I
that at
don't
all.
understand.
I don't
There's something
understand
about football and boys soccer, they use boys enrollment, but all other sports they use total enrollment.
I don't understand that. What? I don't get it. I don't get
But
it.
somebody fussed. No, we don't have enough boys to be that class, and so they said, "Well, how many
Well-
boys you got?" And they told them, and then they made a new rule about how many boys you can have.
Well, I
don't
mean,
know. They just
granted,
make it up as they go.
I will say in Hillman Christian Academy's defense, if they did put them in 4A, there is no way they'd win a football game that year.
Yeah,
I
they'd be in
wouldn't
trouble.
yeah, they'd be in serious trouble if they were sitting in 4A football. Same with JP2, because JP2 is playing all of their other sports at the 4A level too. Could you imagine if JP2 was playing 4A football?
Oh Lord, I think they need to make a run at the charters. I think they need to say, "Hey, Gray, Oceanside, such and such. You tired of dealing with them people over there? Come on, you can recruit all you want over here.
Yeah,
They
for
might,
real.
they might.
Just don't
They
talk
might.
about it."
They might.
And, I
That
mean,
might happen.
SCISA 4A bumped up, with the only the powerhouses mixed in with the charters, and then let
Hammond would actually have
settle
to
down to
compete
3A
football.
and let it fill in
Even-
a little bit.
Even down here with the new charter school that's coming to the
Right.
Hardyville area, it would benefit them more to go SCISA the first few years.
You know what? I
They-
think they're
You're right about
considering that. I don't know for sure, but I think they're considering that just because it really would. It would benefit them because they're going to have to draw outside of their designated attendance zone. And in fact, I think
And
they're
they're
going
gonna
to target outside of their. I think
Yeah, they
they're looking to target Beaufort County.
Yeah.
And so, I think it would really benefit them because they're going to get bumped up to a big classification.
Yeah, because they'll start in 3A or 4A.
Yeah.
Just based on projected enrollment alone.
Right.
Because
Whereas
it's
they can
gonna be-
probably be a SCISA like 1A or 2A.
because
for a
the thing,
while.
Hardyville is only but so big, and there are only but so many athletes. And one thing with Hardyville
There's already
is,
2 charter schools in Hardyville.
Yeah,
by the way.
there is a sense of community in Hardyville, and with Hardyville, here's Blake Rayleigh's talk about the bill. We
Come
have
to
to
the
have it on the logo. But with what Hardyville is building with their athletic program, it is that sense of togetherness and community that's going to be hard to convince a majority of their top athletes to come over to a new charter school to play and then be competitive and be successful. Because
Yeah.
I do think, I think for Hardyville sports, just for the winter and spring season could be very huge for them in some of the sports that they have. It could be a very, very good year for them. And that's only going to help want to build people here and keep people here and have the realistic chance of winning region championships, winning state championships. You open a new charter school, the high school leagues made it clear, hey, and this is a Oceanside great collegiate model school they're bringing down here. They made it clear, we don't give a crap how you feel about this. We're going to multiply
make it hard on you.
We're going to make it difficult on you because you do have an advantage. And so imagine as a freshman coming to play at this new school and you got to play a 3A or 4A schedule. Imagine your first year as a charter school, you got to play a region match against Bluffton, May River, Beaufort, Bishop England, you know, for our sports. It's just not, it's not going to be ideal for them to build what they want to build.
I would love to see if teams like Bishop England, well, I don't think Bishop England would, but Grace Collegiate, I wouldn't be like, I would love to see if they decide, let's just move over and play at the SCISA 4A level.
I don't
give
know
Hammond a run for their money.
I mean, it would give them natural Catholic school rivals all over the state, you know.
Well, also,
especially if they could get Christchurch and St. Joseph's and all of them to come in.
Yeah, because I don't think Bishop England won't leave. Grace Collegiate could. I wouldn't be shocked if they did. You know, like, and move over, give Hammond a run for their money because, you know, Hammond's won like 15 state titles in a row. So, I mean, it's just, you know, I feel like, I mean, because especially with what's happened today, you know, over the last couple of weeks with Grace Collegiate and, you know, the ineligible players that they currently had possessed on their team, you know, I have a feeling they'd get by with it if they were at the SCISA level. Yeah,
absolutely. There's no foul there.
No, you can create a human at SCISA and they'll be eligible to play.
Yeah,
literally create a human.
We cloned him over at Alpha Genesis. We cloned him over at Alpha Genesis.
Exactly.
Yeah, so, I mean, agreed. I don't disagree with you.
I did work the monkeys into the broadcast tonight on WSAV. I said, Troy Tinko's making like those monkeys in Yemisi and busting loose.
Dude, it's on national news everywhere. Freaking ABC News tonight with David Muir. David Muir called it out on his show last night or something like that. Like, everybody knows about it now. That there are these monkeys just running through the backwoods of South Carolina.
I like the point Javon is making on the chat, and we can put it up on there. Regarding Bishop England, and that's a good point here.
Yeah.
Their athletics hasn't won in years in their sports to primarily win. Their volleyball team just got knocked out the other day by May River. They're defending state champions. Their cross country team lost a region championship. Those are the sports that they nominate. Hey, you know,
the Olympic sports, they have
exactly. Girls basketball is not going to have it as easy in 4A. I've been saying for years that Bishop England prided itself on its athletic supremacy when they were in the 1A, 2A world, beating up on these smaller schools. Now they're in the big boy land and they're realizing, oh crap, this is not as easy as it's going to be. And we've been struggling. And with Oceanside there, Oceanside is taking most of the glory. I could see BE saying, you know what, if we want to kind of bring back the dominance and the identity of our athletic program as being champions, let's go to SCISA, because at the end of the day, in many sports, SCISA is still not as competitive as high school league in most sports.
There's a big difference. With basketball, I think the gap is
basketball's the one.
Basketball's the one that's the closest. Agreed, Wes.
And in some cases, the soccer, the highest level soccer programs can be on the level.
Golf could be considered.
I mean, obviously, golf and tennis are crazy at the private schools that really focus on them, but I mean, traditional sports. But BE would be fine in all of those. They'd fit better in SCISA, like demographically, and especially in a SCISA 4A situation. And again, I think it would be appealing to them to have rivalries with what is it, Heathwood, Cardinal Newman, JP2. Who's the other one? Shannon Forest, whatever it's called now. First Presbyterian. Like, all those little religious school rivalries, you know, they dig those, especially the Catholic schools. I don't know. Yeah. It's something to think about. And I do think Marshview may go that way.
On the lower half of that.
And if Marshview goes that way, that kind of sets a precedent that would be interesting. Yeah, boys golf in private is crazy. You guys goes like Hilton Head Prep.
Oh, agreed.
They're going like 15 deep with dudes who are like,
private school
here to train for golf. Like it's crazy.
Private school men's golf, especially like Hilton Christian, Hilton Prep over the years have been among teams ranked nationally in the top 25 nationally across the country. So I mean, it's a little bit of a different ball game at the private level for boys golf, but even boys golf at the public level is impressive to watch too. Especially like Hilton Head, May River. boys
Usually a
golf,
couple of good years
Bluffton boys
recently.
golf. Those are always got such strong kids because it's just that we just have a depth of young talent for golf here in this area. It's just
Of course,
kind
we
of
got the Mayorville girls.
it's
who have been
ridiculous
vying
to see how many
for it.
great players. It's
Yeah, man,
ridiculous.
the girls.
And not just River girls was, but Hilton Head girls. They're young, and they've been
Yeah,
solid.
and Hilton beat
Yeah,
them
yeah.
run for money this year. Hilton beat them in like a qualifying tournament or the
Yeah,
girls'
lower state qualifier.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
agreed.
Did you guys see the box score I sent you from this Hilton Head game? By the way,
I saw it, but I couldn't see it.
so Timko had 24 for 264 and 3 touchdowns.
Oh yes,
how
that's
many
what I saw.
broken? How many broken tackles did he have?
100,
I stopped counting at 675 in the second quarter.
at least 100
Good Lord.
Sarnecki
is-
had 126.
on 13 carries.
Oh,
and a
my.
touchdown.
Holy crap!
Goodness gracious.
And
264 in 3 touchdowns.
Did they pass 400 rushing yards tonight?
432
Uh,
total rushing yards
yeah.
for the Seahawks.
Yeah. That's insane.
495 total yards.
Raniszewski was 3 for 9,
insane.
53 yards and a touchdown. Carson Haynes caught all 3 of the passes, 3 for 63 and a score. Haynes is the only receiver to catch a pass for the Seahawks. They ran it 45 times. They passed it 9 times. It worked to perfection for the season. So,
And
Here's
again,
what a dominant Hilnick high school defense looks like when they're playing the team. Aiden McCarthy, in terms of his rushing games tonight, 15 attempts for 31 yards and had lost 17 yards as well. So a net total of 14 rushing yards.
whew.
and what's
That's great. He
crazy
only
is
completed 10 of the 23 passes.
They,
Hilton Head put 400 yards rushing on Bluffton, a Bluffton defense that last week.
He
did a
was
decent job containing,
Handled.
running.
Yeah. y'all have 265, which is way below your average.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Like for them, like it's almost a Jekyll and Hyde situation where last week they did a very solid job containing a strong rushing attack, a team that is going to run. And tonight, Hilton Head, I mean, like I said, homie broke 20 tackles a touch. And it wasn't even fair. Like you would think it's the worst.
It took like 2-3
Like,
guys
it was
on
just-
average to bring him down. He was in this.
More than that.
Yeah, in the fourth quarter where they run like an HB dive here, and he makes a right turn to get off at Cookout to get something to eat, and then gets back on 278 to cross the bridge, and then they took him down. And the referees felt so bad, they threw a random flag for a holding penalty.
Yeah.
Because we're trying to figure out how to get in traffic to go to Cookout and get back in the game. Like it was.
That was a
insane.
very borderline holding penalty because that was a real good block. Until
That was a mercy.
second.
That was a mercy rule. The dude made a 90-degree right turn in the middle of a run. A 90-degree right turn.
I just think Bluffton's defense put everything they had into that May River game and left nothing for Hilton Head. I mean, granted, they lost one of their defensive linemen for this game, but
they're down Bastion.
But apart from that, this team was cooked coming into this game because they played their pretty much everything they had into that May River
there's
game.
a lot to be said for
Having that week off for Hilton that certainly helped. Hey,
I mean, the win against May River was fantastic. What a great way to finish off a game. But then you put everything into that game and you weren't ready coming into this game against Hilton Head when we all thought this was going to be a one-possession game, even with, injuries to Bluffton's team, because we knew that Hilton Head had a problem when it came to passing on the defensive side of the ball. Oh, and they didn't tonight. They sure as hell didn't tonight, because what I saw in terms of the film that I watched from that game, they figured it out on the passing side of things on the defense, which was their one weakness I saw in that defense this entire season. They figured it out tonight. And if they can keep playing like that, I don't care if they're playing South Florence. They may give South Florence a fight for their life.
I mean,
they were
they were fantastic tonight.
They held Bishop England and they held James Island to like 21 as well early.
Well, I was gonna say, Wes, I think now looking back on it, we didn't think that was the eye-opening game when it came to Hilton Head, but it must have been, because that James Island game where they held James Island to only 3 touchdowns, a very good 5A James Island team, When they held them to 21
Yeah.
points, I was like, "Ooh, that's interesting." But I didn't think about it
Their
until later
offense
on in
didn't
the
do
season.
anything.
Oh yeah, I didn't think
Maniszewski
about
was
it until
out.
later on.
Maniszewski was out for that game.
Was
Offense
Yeah.
didn't contribute anything in that game.
Right.
And if they do, that both their losses were because the offense didn't show up.
Yeah.
The defense
Yeah,
still
if they
played.
if they get a strong performance offensively, I mean, they're going to be in all these games. The defense continues to play at that level, and I think they could sneak up on a team or two in the playoffs once you get to South. They should get by that first round matchup if they play the way they've been playing. But I think they can sneak up on a team or two, potentially like a South Florence or maybe even Bishop England if bracket gets kind of reestablished.
I do.
Yeah.
I think they're a legit contender. I think they are a team that's built for the playoffs. I mean, they play playoff football.
Well, I think the game that really opened everyone's eyes was when they played Hampton County and won 35.
Yeah, that was
They stopped the run. They stopped the run. They stopped.
Yeah, they stopped the run.
They stopped
Fully
the
stopped
run.
the run.
And then, in case we thought it was a fluke, they come back and then they stopped May Rivers' run when River was at its peak.
They backed it
We
up.
were
That
just
Yeah.
dominating it. So, like, I think part of it too, for a point you guys made earlier, is with Bluffton. If they put all their chips on the table to beat May River last week,
right.
you're still playing tonight
and mentally
for a
in
playoff
after
spot.
the game.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
even
like-
though they won, they took a toll with the loss of Holly, and then just a couple guys
And
made
Wolf.
up, and the injury report favored Hilton, and that was a big difference. Now, if Bluffton was healthy, I still think Hilton would have beaten them tonight, but maybe it would have been a different game.
Yeah.
Hilton would have been better.
Yeah,
team.
I think so. I think they could have limited Holly enough, but it would have been a different game for sure.
Right.
I think Bluffton's in a little bit of trouble next week against May River.
Yeah.
I do too.
I think with Cordell Holly going down in that game, which, by the way, I don't know if you saw Misa that play with Cordell last week. I don't know if you're at the game or not.
I saw it on Beaver Town. It was
very brutal. I was at that game and I saw it as it happened. I was just like, oh my god, if this went the wrong way for him, then I have a feeling his season could have been over right then and there. Thankfully, it's not the case. He sounds like he may very well be back for next week's game against May River.
That's on the broadcast. So I mean, even right now, it's a situation where what was the mindset going into tonight's game for Bluffton? Because you still had a playoff spot. You could have finished in the 6. 5 would have been difficult to do, but you could have been a 6 seed. You're hosting a South Aiken or a weaker team, right? Then what you're going to hosting your rival right down the road, where it's not just your rival right down the road. It's a rival that is still pissed off because we lost that game. Let's keep in mind with May River, we win that game very well. We win the region. We're a top 3 seed playing a first round home game against a 14 seed. We lose that game. We go from a potential top 3 to a guaranteed 4-play finish. We're stuck in the 10th spot. We have to travel the whole playoff route. It's a much more difficult route. May River's going to come hungry, chomping at the bit, ready for payback at Bluffton. Bluffton tonight didn't show up for many reasons, and the mentality is going to be important. How do you bounce back from this and say, okay, we got our tails kicked tonight. It is what it is. Shake it off. Now we get ready for the next season, which is now. The playoffs, we lose, you're done. So it doesn't matter everything because Bluffton had high expectations this year. Bluffton was one of the top teams in the preseason for this region. And so for them to have the season they've had to kind of go out like this would be very disappointing for them. But it's going to be on the mindset and see kind of how they react to a home playoff game. At the end of the day, it is a home playoff game. It's a home playoff game. There should be enough hype. And it's a home playoff game against your biggest rival.
It's not just any home playoff game. You're against May River, and this is probably the biggest game they've ever played against each other. It's the first time they've ever played each other in the postseason, so this one has a lot more weight to it. Now that I'm saying that, May River is the rest of the team. They're even though they lost that first game, I think they're still trending in the better direction compared to Bluffton right now, which is banged up, just came off a loss, and now you got to pick yourself back up. It's not easy. I like May River. Now I haven't completely picked the game. Things could change if Bluffton gets healthy before that one. But I think May River comes into this one kind of energized and on the right footing, despite that recent loss as they get ready to go on. If that matchup is correct, which we think it is. So
I think it is.
if the high school league's not gonna, it doesn't care about region matches in the first round, then the 7-10 is gonna be
Right.
Bluffton Bay River.
Yeah, that looks to be locked in.
Indeed.
Yeah. I
So,
don't.
so for my
the only
other
thing I don't
folks,
know is who Hilton Head's going to play.
Right.
no, because it's
There's a
it
three-way
might be
tie
South-
situation, and
We'll
South
find out
Aiken or
tomorrow.
Darlington. We'll
Or
find out
Little
tomorrow
Richland.
morning.
I don't know.
We'll do a live pre-tape, not really show tomorrow sometime. Not really, we're not doing it.
Nah, Monday night.
Monday
Yeah,
night.
there you go. You'll get
Bracket
up to the minute breakdowns of the playoff
bracket
matches
special.
Apology.
Monday night.
Tuesday night, we have Matt Bowman, the baseball coach from Hilton Head High, going to come on and talk about the big district-wide toy drive that they're doing. So that'll be cool.
Fantastic. Great to hear that.
Yeah. So
Tuesday
And
night, we also have a big volleyball match for the mayor to start.
yep, Tuesday night, Lower State, which Javon will be there. So here's the thing. I know Javon is watching because he's commenting. Did anybody catch Javon's America's Got Talent audition from the Mayor Bishop England game the other night?
dude, I commented on that.
Thing?
I commented on that. I was watching that.
did not.
I
You got
Oh
a
my God.
timestamp on that?
You gotta find it. I think it was.
You gotta-
Was it in the third set? Was it in the third set when
It was either in the second set or third set.
I think
It might have been third.
What do you
It may have been
saying?
third set.
What are you saying?
He's saying Alicia Keys, "This girl is on fire."
I commented on the YouTube stream.
Here's what
I
I'm
commented
proposing.
on the YouTube
Oh,
stream.
my
I was like,
God.
did Justin
Anytime
have
we
the
mention
funny thing?
Buford's own on Lowco, you got to play that clip of him singing "This Girl's on Fire." Every time Buford's own's brought up, you know how we do when the final score is posted, we make the little celebration noise. I propose for Buford's own. Every time we mention it, you find that clip and you just play it.
I'm definitely
Yeah,
gonna
because we
start
can't.
Because now,
we can't get dinged for a copyright or anything, so we can't play the.
now it's short enough that we won't get dinged. Because now I expect Tuesday night at the Lower State Championship for him to come out with another song at some point during the game. Like, this is a standard he set. So I expect to tune in.
Oh,
and listen
you
acapella song at some
find
point.
gotta find another number for Tuesday.
Yeah.
new song.
So tonight, both Darlington and South Aiken won tonight. South Aiken beat Airport 40-27 tonight, and then Darlington beat Wilson. Or no, was this?
Or was this?
Yeah, South
no,
Aiken won
Darlington.
last night. South Aiken
Okay.
won last night,
Darlington didn't play
40-27.
tonight.
Darlington won their final game 36-20 over Wilson. So, yeah, it's either one of those two teams will be whoever Hilton Head plays.
And so, like, right now with the RPI, South Aiken is ranked higher, but what's throwing everything off is the Great Collegiate.
Yes. All that.
Now,
that could change it again.
because now the second place team in that region is 20th in the RPIs. So you got Gilbert, Midland Valley, and Brooklyn Casey, who are 2, 3, and 4 respectively. And Gilbert's 20th, Midland Valley's 23rd, Brooklyn Casey's 27th. To kind of put that in perspective down here, May River's 10th, Hilton Head's 11th, Bluffton 16th.
Right.
And that's what we're dealing with, the big disparity in the RPI. But because they finished second, they're going to get the higher seed.
Don't forget about Buford, especially if they get a chance to go up against Bishop England. If that's how, although Bishop England could be the 3. So, I'm still not so about Buford, but I'm intrigued to see how they do if they get that shot in the playoffs.
Bishop England will be the 3 seed for sure. They weren't.
Hartsville potentially.
Yeah, North Augusta
will be the 1 seed.
Right, and Hartsville will be 2.
Hartsville will be 2 guaranteed. There's no way Hilton Head's going to be able to beat.
Hartsville gave South Florence the beating last week. So I'm not shocked at the 2 seed.
Yeah, Hartsville's tough.
They are good. Those Red Foxes are good, man.
Bracket in 4A. I mean, it's not easy. Once you get past round 1, it's a go.
Oh yeah, it's tough. It's tough. I mean, but that's what you play for, So it'll be fun. I'm excited for tomorrow with the RPI rankings, how it's going to go. To see the playoff matches that we're going to have, which should make it more competitive in the the 7-10, 8-9, 6-11 match.
I like the RPI system. I like how they've implemented this year because it was like a random draw before that. They did the 1-16, but it was like, okay, this region gets this slot, this region gets this slot. Now it's the better team get the better spots for this.
And the good thing is with 4 and 5A, it goes across all sports. So like you see with
Right. Every
volleyball.
other team sports. Right.
Yep. You see with volleyball where you had that as well. So like May River finished second in the region. They had the toughest RPI for second place teams get the 4 seed. Now
And
they're playing the
I'm
Lowcountry
excited to see
championship.
how
You see
this
all these other
works for
teams.
basketball with all the tournament, like if all the
Basketball's gonna be fun.
It makes the early season games mean something, right? Because those RPIs are going to be important when the season.
Yeah, those non-region games actually have meaning now.
Yeah,
For sure.
and the other thing is you know teams won't be, hey, you're gonna play a bunch of 1A schools that have no basketball programs and you're gonna get the wins. Yeah, like you know, you're gonna play that and then
Royal Live Oaks.
You know, like no, now you know, it's gonna hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's gonna be fun, but you know, we got to focus on football first because there's still a lot more
winning percentage 0 will hurt.
Yeah, right.
Well, how about this? I found it.
Blackstock in the middle once again, not ready for it, man. That young lady. This girl is on fire. Lincoln Blackstock.
Oh, man.
Put that right there.
Dude, immediately when I heard that, I had to comment on it. I was just like, did Devon just
Your
sing?
comment is how I found it.
Yeah.
I scrolled until your comment popped up and then backed up to it. That's how I found it.
Yeah, there you
Your
go.
comment.
There's his audition for next season of American Idol.
Oh man, that was funny.
I was just like, I did not just hear that come out of Justin's mouth, did I?
I was watching, and then I'm just like,
Reba McEntire turned around. She liked it.
And you know, on YouTube, you can just rewind live. So I stopped. I was like, hold on, did he just really sing that? And he sang it. I was like, oh, okay, all right. This dude is spilling this game in this broadcast. He is in his zone.
Oh my goodness. All right, well.
I love it.
I think it's
probably
time
get on to our.
It's time to wrap it up, right?
Yeah, it's time to get to our Lowco Booster Club sponsors.
All right. You want to take a crack at them, or you want me?
Yeah. I'll go ahead and do it. Court Lifestyle Pros, Daniel and Debbie Cart, good friends of ours here on Lowco Sports. You know, Lowcountry natives selling the local lifestyle here on Hilton Head Island. Go check out Daniel and Debbie Cart over at Court Lifestyle Pros. Barefoot Floor Care, Chris Odom. I'm sure he was watching a little bit of this tonight. You know, wood floors, tile floors, vinyl floors, and carpet upholstery. You know, man knows how to get stuff clean, especially those nasty, sticky floors. Call Barefoot Floor Care of the Lowcountry to get those floors so clean your feet will thank you. Eagle Creations, one of the area's best kept secrets for those of us who are spread thin, volunteering for one team or organization or another, and always end up needing something in a pinch, whether it's emergency jersey or hat for your travel team, promotional items for your upcoming event, or proudly Southern custom gift baskets featuring regional goods to say appreciate you. Bill and Manny can hook you up over at Eagle Creations.
Already time to start thinking about those stocking stuffers, and they have.
Yes, absolutely. Jay's Barbershop, located in Ridgeland. I'm sure he's very happy tonight with Thomas Hayward getting their first round win. Excited to see that game next week. I believe they're playing at home against Dorchester, so that should be fun to watch. Jay's Barbershop, proud sponsor of the Lowco Sports Lowdown and Lowco Pigskin Live. We always appreciate Jay for his support. Go check out Jay's Barbershop over in Ridgeland, and I believe that's the last one there. So time to wrap it up. Gentlemen,
final takeaways from
we'll start with Justin because Justin was on air tonight with WSAV. Justin, your thoughts on that game and what you need to see out of Bluffton as they go into next week's game against May River?
I mean, honestly, they need to see Cordell Holly ready to play. That would make the biggest difference. You know, I think really, I just think Hilton Head had a tremendous game plan. You know, I talked to BJ pregame and he said, you know, this is hard to game plan for because we don't know what they're going to come out in because they haven't used another running back. So he expected to see a lot of empty sets, and that's really what they saw after the first series. They kind of abandoned having a back there for the most part and just went empty and spread it out. But, you know, they must have anticipated that they were going to try a lot of designed runs for Aiden McCarthy without a true proven running back there because they had Zarnecki sitting there spying him all night, and he really contained him, shut him down, and they dropped 6 into coverage. They let the linebackers drop into coverage, and they just really didn't give him any clean looks.
Yeah, they did a fantastic job early.
Nothing was easy.
Good defensive lockdown coverage. I mean,
I thought they disguised stuff pretty well. They were dropping those backers in, and he just couldn't find clean lanes.
Yeah, find the guy downfield. I mean, just credit to how they game planned for McCarthy in this offense.
It was tremendous.
Job of the
really
coaches.
was.
Yeah, well done there from the Seahawks. But
that was my biggest takeaway. Just this game planning and execution from Hilton.
Yeah, I mean, kind of echoing that with what we saw of Zarnecki on the offensive side, Troy Timko. With them, I'll kind of make a different spin on it. I'm just really impressed by Renishevsky and what he's doing, because you can't forget about the what he has brought to the passing game as well, and not just that, he makes good plays on the run, scrambling, pick up some first downs. So he has become quite the guy leading under center, and do not forget about his scrambling ability and his throwing ability, quite frankly, because he hooked up with these last 2 weeks and going back to that May River game. He had a nice long touchdown pass in that one. Then again here against Saul Bluffton defense, he connects with Carson Haynes for a big touchdown catch late in the half. So he is really starting to grow as an all around signal caller and someone who is more than he's been more of a game manager, but now more so he's starting to find the rhythm passing the football, and that just makes it harder for a team to defend. So I just want to give a shout out, especially to Renishevsky, but as well as Troy Timko. Dude was a beast tonight. What more can you say?
I hope he's okay. He kind of hyperextended his knee on that last carry.
Yeah, I saw the replay on WHHI. It was not pretty to look at.
Yeah, it was. I don't think it was that bad. BJ said that the word they were getting from Sean Zink was good. That it wasn't like damage. It looked like he just kind of came down awkwardly and his knee just slid out a little bit too much. But
I don't like
it didn't go the wrong way. It just straightened out. So I'm hoping he just kind of sprained it a little bit and he can get off of it for a couple days. They could probably go a little light on him next week.
Yeah, and Zarnecki. Yeah, that's because Zarnecki's been good, but also you got Jeremiah Walters and Nathan Happen to kind of take over as well. So they have other guys in depth wise.
They got some guys, and Tristan Simmons can run it too. They got some dudes. It's the deepest Hilton Head team I've seen.
Max.
Sorry, I had something I was going to say, and now I lost it. Never mind.
Max, I know which team you're going to be hyping up.
Oh yeah, dude. I tell you, that's the best game I've seen Christian Academy play all season long. 100%. They played a great game, had a great game plan as always from Peduzzi. It's just whether or not their team executes that game plan that he puts together for the Eagles. Look, they played lights out tonight. That defense freaking showed up tonight. I don't know where they came from or what Peduzzi's been feeding them, but like they showed up tonight, and it was really impressive to see. And I'm not really sure what Florence Christian's game plan was, because the moment they were down 2 touchdowns, they were just running the clock out. And I do mean running the clock out. They were very slow moving on offense, thinking that they might be able to tie this ball game up, and it just never worked out. And then finally, like with a minute left in the half, they started to pick the speed up, pick the pace up. And by that point, they were already down 21-7. Right. And, going into the third quarter, they thought they could do the same thing. And clearly it didn't work, because Hilton Head Christian Academy scored, I think, 28 points in the third quarter to move ahead to a 42-7 victory in the end. Look, that's the best game I've seen Hilton Head Christian Academy play all season. I said the other night, when we talked about our rankings, and I moved Hilton Head Christian Academy down because I had to think about it. When you guys moved them down, I thought, you know what? Y'all have a point. They have not played like what I hoped they would be this season.
That wasn't the point of why you moved them down, or why am I moving down. Hey, they listen. They watch this show. They listen.
They must have. They must have, because I told them to wake up. Wake up. It's time to play some playoff football. And that's exactly what they did. They woke up. They played great football. Barely any penalties. I think they had maybe 2 penalties on offense tonight, which is so much better than what me and Justin briefly saw at against both Pinewood Prep and Hilton Head Prep as well.
And JP2 game.
And JP2 and JP2. Right. This was a very different looking Hilton Head Christian Academy offense tonight. They are playing like what I was expecting the offense to play. The defense was a surprise for me tonight because, my goodness, the number of turnovers they forced on Florence Christian, I don't think anyone saw that coming. And so it's a great win for Hilton Head Christian Academy, but now they got to focus on a tough task ahead against Wilson Hall. But I have a feeling if Christian Academy can keep playing like this, I don't see them losing to Wilson Hall. I think they get to the state championship game the way they played tonight.
Yep, I agree with that.
I don't usually bet against Peduzzi. I remember what I was going to say. Is it weird to say that Derek Graniszewski has sort of had the season I expected Tanner Macy to have? It's like stat-wise. Like I expected him to be kind of that game manager, but hits a few passes every game.
Yeah,
makes some plays with his legs.
From Macy,
that's one thing that I think hurt May River is that they didn't really
this week.
Maybe I would love to see them try to throw a couple passes here and there.
I mean, I think they have to know at this point that it's got to be part of the offense for them to make a deep run. You got to at least try it. You got to see if it's there.
I mean, that's the one thing I don't know. Even if they do have a passing game, it's not the greatest passing game, and it could easily be, something that could kill them. Biting in the foot, because they don't really have someone who could throw the football extremely well. So,
I think if they could just complete like 5 passes a game instead of 1, that would make that tremendous.
See, I don't disagree with that. I 100% agree with that. I think if they threw anywhere from 3 to 5 passes a game, I think it'd be
make a big difference.
Some teams. But honestly, I thought that's kind of what they did at the beginning of the season because they threw anywhere from 2 to 4 passes a game. And then they kind of got away from it, and it kind of was their downfall on those 2 losses they had to both Hilton Head and to Bluffton.
Though, I'll say it again. I would much rather be May River than Bluffton going into this game.
Yes, absolutely. Because
and I would have felt that way about it if it was Hilton Head, too.
They had tonight off. Tonight off. They're going to be the more physically healthy team going into next Friday.
And they're going to have a hunger. I mean, a serious hunger.
They're going to go into that game in Bluffton and be like, yeah, you beat us on our field. Well, payback.
Yeah. There's no substitute for hunger, man. There's just no substitute for it.
It's payback time. That's what they're thinking. It's what they're thinking.
I like where May River sits. And honestly, I think they'd rather be in that 7-10 game than the 5-12 or 6. Just because of the matchups, I think with Hartsville, that's an interesting matchup. That's 2 very similar teams. I think that could be a real dogfight if May River could get through and face Hartsville. So
agreed.
And then they'd be on the side of the bracket as Bishop England or whoever the 6th seed is. What's that?
Well, Wes, you were running from headquarters.
Going to have to bring it next week.
Yeah.
Wes, you were running from headquarters tonight. Tell me what did you think? What was your takeaway from tonight?
Yeah, I mentioned I mentioned Hilton and I'm with the Brzezinski. That was kind of my takeaway, but I had another one on the SCISA side. Despite the losses, JP2 and Hilton Prep, especially Hilton Prep, they looked solid and just great to see improvement from both those teams, especially what the Dolphins did against a tough game to play on the road against Calhoun Academy. So give credit for Coach McFadden and those Dolphins for showing up in a game where you could have easily rolled over in the end of your season on a sour note or a tougher note. But hey, they showed up. Davis Cardinal had a nice run. Wyatt Butler with a touchdown catch, and they fought hard in this game. So huge props to Doug McFadden, that Hilton Prep team. Talked about them earlier, but they're on the right track for sure. But before we wrap it up here, just going through the SCISA matchups, what to expect going forward. We got Wilson Hilton and Christian on one side of the 3A bracket. We got Pinewood Prep and North Side Christian on the other. Then over, unfortunately, our 2A team, only 2A team lost to Calhoun Hilton Prep. And then 1A, Thomas Hayward, Dorchester next week, Williamsburg, Buford Academy. So setting up for what a week, man. Friday night, gonna be a good one. not only do we have a loaded slate of SCISA semifinals, we have all the first round playoff matchups of high school league. Buckle up! It is going to be a fun Friday night coming up as we go deeper in November, and we still got a lot of football left to talk about. So that's going to be
absolutely.
Time. But thanks for joining us here tonight for another edition of Lowco Pigskin Live. We got to wrap this one up because we got to be over at USCB tomorrow for some women's basketball. The Sand Sharks making their debut year 2 with Coach Sharon Versep. So we'll be covering that one, and JJ will be on the call. The Sand Sharks.
Me and Robbie D on the call. Rob Benson.
Yeah, that's going to be fun. I can't wait to see how that goes. Hopefully I can hop over and watch the game tomorrow. Remind everyone what time it starts tomorrow.
1 o'clock tip-off.
Alrighty. Well, if you want to go watch the Sand Shark season opener for women's basketball, please go check out some Sand Shark basketball tomorrow. And that game will start at 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Should be a start to what should be a very interesting and very, amazing season in store for the women's basketball team, who I think are going to be very competitive this year, alongside the men's team as well. So we will see.
Score from today. They started their season, and they'll play again tomorrow. And then the USC.
How they do today?
I tried to find it, but the live stats stats switched on me, so I couldn't find it unless Bracken posted something on the Twitter or on the site about it, which I haven't seen.
They won 104 to 101.
Ooh,
nice. Wow, what a game. Man, what a game.
In overtime.
Yeah,
that's
a good one.
Let's see here. Alejandro Relat, the fifth-year point guard from Puerto Rico out of FAU, 29 points. Kyle Polk had 22. Kev had 13. Dominic Eason, the freshman out of Georgia, had 10. Krishen Atwell had 4. Paladugu 6. Kenny Gaines, or Paladugu 9. Kenny Gaines 6. Dylan Lewis 4. Hudson Norton 4. Tasso Spanos 3. And Lucas Platana got shut out.
Names I remember.
Yeah,
a couple of you guys who are going to be important factors. So
played 11 guys.
Yeah,
it's going to be a fun season. It's going to be a fun season watching some Sand Shark basketball back in the Lowco.
Cove starting again tomorrow, and also women's soccer in a Peach Belt tournament matchup against top seed Columbus State.
Yeah,
and I will say, I know they lost 4-0. Columbus State, sitting there undefeated. I think USCB has a chance to sneak up on them. They were fairly competitive in that match, but I feel like they have a little something extra. So don't count them out in that one versus 8. I feel like they have the mojo to potentially pull off the upset. So we'll keep them as well. They play at 7 o'clock.
It's gonna be interesting to watch, and I'm excited to see how the women's soccer season continues and how it finishes off as they head towards potentially conference playoffs. So this should be fun to watch as that continues. And then obviously basketball back in the Cove on Saturday. So a lot going on for the weekend. And then, of course, I'm sure, Wes, you and Bracken will be doing a Sand Shark Rewind potentially on Sunday.
Potentially JJ as well to get, I'm sure you'll be.
Yeah, so we look forward to that.
Season.
So stay tuned for the USDB Sand Shark Rewind presented by Tanger Outlets on Sunday. And then we all will be back here. Well, I guess not Misa, but myself, Justin, and Wes will be back. Yeah, you never know. Myself, Justin, and Wes will be back on Monday night for the Lowco Sports Lowdown. We'll take another dive into all these football games next Monday. And then, of course, big volleyball games coming up, including May River on Tuesday, as they will be playing in the lower state finals. So big things taking place this next week, including Friday night football playoffs starting for the South Carolina High School League next Friday. And then SCISA playoffs will be continuing next Friday. So we will get you up to date as next week continues. So that will do it from us here with Lowco Sports Pigskin Live. Thank you to all of our sponsors for supporting us through all the shows that we do. And we thank you guys for keeping us going and growing. So from Justin Jarrett, our football analyst, Misa Garcon, And Worldwide West Kerr, I'm Max Arraj. Until next time, go Loco.